Greetings and welcome back. The Trump administration announced on Monday that it has deported 17 more violent criminals from the Tren, Aragua and MS-13 gangs to El Salvador. This move is part of the administration's strategy to send people back to countries other than their own, despite ongoing criticism about transparency and human rights concerns. The State Department reported that these deportations took place on Sunday night. Among those removed, specific details about their nationalities or crimes were not provided. However, the office of El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele confirmed that some of the deported individuals were from El Salvador and Venezuela. Secretary of State Marco Rubio stated, "These criminals will no longer terrorize our communities and citizens." He also expressed gratitude to President Bukele and the government of El Salvador for their cooperation in this effort. The U.S. military transported the men to El Salvador. According to a video released by the Salvadoran government, the deportees were taken by bus to a maximum security prison. There, they were changed into standard white prison uniforms and had their heads shaved. The video showed guards escorting the men into a cell block. Some were made to kneel on the floor with their hands cuffed behind their backs and their ankles shackled. Guards held their necks and forced them to walk quickly while bent over, keeping their heads down. Some men struggled with the effort, and one appeared to vomit while receiving instructions. Earlier this month, over 200 Venezuelan immigrants facing deportation were also sent to El Salvador and are being held in the same maximum security prison. The Trump administration has previously deported immigrants of various nationalities to other Central American countries. However, El Salvador is the only country where the U.S. is sending people specifically to be imprisoned. This policy reflects a broader effort to combat gang violence and crime, which officials say threatens communities in the U.S. and Central America. Critics argue that these deportations raise serious human rights issues, especially concerning the treatment of individuals once they arrive in these countries. Supporters of the policy believe it helps keep American communities safe by removing dangerous individuals. However, many human rights advocates worry about the lack of transparency in the deportation process and the potential for abuse in the receiving countries. As this policy continues, it remains a topic of intense debate. Advocates for immigrants and human rights groups are closely monitoring the situation, urging the government to consider the implications of such actions on the lives of those deported and the communities they return to. In summary, the Trump administration's ongoing deportation efforts focus on removing violent criminals to El Salvador and other countries, aiming to reduce crime and violence in American communities. While supporters see it as a necessary step, critics highlight the significant human rights concerns associated with these actions. Stay tuned and subscribe to this channel for more updates.